Good evening, one and all. Welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2022-2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 75 years of independence. United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's sessions. Today, we are commemorating World Bipolar Day. World Bipolar Day, in short WBD, is celebrated each year on March 30th. We take this opportunity annually to reflect on connection, outreach, and advocacy. World Bipolar Day provides a moment to join together in solidarity around the goals of increasing awareness, acceptance, and funding for illness, all of which are key objectives. So this day provides an occasion, a moment to join together in solidarity around the goals of increasing awareness, acceptance, and funding for this illness, all of which are key objectives of our forthcoming annual meeting, alongside promoting excellence in climate clinical care and research. The COVID-19 pandemic has a huge impact on communities worldwide, and supporting people living with bipolar disorder along with their families and loved ones has been a challenge. During the periods of stress and social isolation, it is even more important to maintain quality and to attend to both your basic needs: nutrition, sleep, and health. And those give you fulfillment, hobbies, social interaction, exercise, and relaxation. And keep in mind that social distancing does not have to mean social isolation. So the theme for the World Bipolar Day, strength is strength for today, hope for tomorrow. This World Bipolar Day is an initiative of the International Society for Bipolar Disorders, ISBD in short, the International Bipolar Foundation, IBPF in short, and the Asian Network of Bipolar Disorder, ANDB in short, will be celebrated each year on March 30th, the birthday of Vincent van Gogh, who was posthumously diagnosed as probably having bipolar disorder. The vision of World Bipolar Day is to bring world awareness to bipolar disorders and to eliminate social stigma. Though through international collaboration, the goal of World Bipolar Day is to bring the world population information about bipolar disorders that will educate and improve sensitivity towards the illness. Bipolar is a brain disorder that causes unusual shifts in mood, energy, activity levels, and the ability to carry out day-to-day tasks. Symptoms of bipolar disorder are severe and different from normal ups and downs that everyone goes through from time to time. It is estimated that the global prevalence of bipolar disorder is between 1 and 2% and has been said to be as high as 5%. In order to address this global problem, we need a global solution. With support from leading experts from around the world, groups like ANDB, IBPF, and ISBD are supporting efforts to investigate biological causes, targets for drug treatments, better methods of diagnosis, the genetic components of the illness, and the strategies for living well with bipolar disorder. And this is just beginning. Collaboration between research and advocacy groups are continuing to grow, and World Bipolar Day is a tribute to the success of this strategy. As we have discussed, World Bipolar Day is observed on the birthday of Dutch painter Vincent van Gogh, on one of the most influential artists in the history of Western art. His creativity was paralleled with his mental illness, and he was posthumously diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And bipolar disorder dramatically affects the mood and may result in episodes of depression and elation, which can affect one's health, productivity, and relationships. So bipolar disorder isn't a modern issue, and its diagnosis dates back to ancient Greece. The earliest mention of the mental disorder can be found in the medical literature of the physician Hippocrates, who had been often referred to as father of Western medicine. He documented his findings on the two polar opposite moods, which is now known as depression and mania. The modern conceptual understanding of bipolar disorder occurred in the 19th century. Independent descriptions of bipolar disorder were presented on the Académie de Médecine in Paris in 1854 by French neurologist Jules Bélarger and French psychiatrist Jean-Pierre Falvet. The term bipolar disorder had not been coined yet, so Bélarger and French psychiatrist Jean-Pierre Falvet, the term bipolar disorder had not been coined yet. So Bélarger referred to the illness as folie, a double foamy, means dual form insanity, and Falvet called it folie circulaire, meaning circular insanity. In 1999, the International Bipolar Foundation was founded, and since then, researching bipolar disorders and helping people who are suffering from it. Bipolar disorders are more common than we think. Extreme mood swings go unnoticed or are dismissed as temperamental issues, while the inflicted person is actually going through waves of mania or depression. People with this mental illness lead disrupted lives as the disorder impacts one's ability to function. Fortunately, medication and extensive counseling can help with the treatment. Living with bipolar disorder is not easy, but in the words of Van Gogh himself, the beginning is perhaps more difficult than anything else, but keep heart, it will turn out all right. So the ribbon for raising awareness about bipolar disorder is green, and bipolar disorder is a curious condition as it is often considered a shadow of creativity. Throughout history, the illness has affected gifted individuals and creative genius. So wear a green ribbon today to show your solidarity towards bipolar patients and affected families. And it is crippling and impedes success in every domain of life, work, relationships, and even today, day-to-day tasks like showering or sleeping, etc. Bipolar disorder crosses the boundary of just causing mental problems. It affects a person physically as well as in the form of spasms, migraines, and metabolic disorders. It is different for everyone, just like fingerprints. No two bipolar disorders are exactly the same. Diagnosis varies significantly, which makes characterizing the illness and prescribing treatment for even more difficult. Many celebrities like Demi Lovato, Mary Lambert, Kanye West, and Richard Dreyfuss are some high-profile celebrities who are combating with bipolar disorder. A research team from the University of Michigan conducted a study on bipolar disorder that spanned 2 decades and found that the bipolar cannot be given a single root cause, as it mostly the result of combination of biological and environmental factors. So 1 in 5 people living with bipolar disorder end up harming themselves or end up ending their lives. So we extend our support to these people in dealing with the challenges of this condition and give them hope for a better tomorrow. As common as it is, many people don't realize they are suffering from bipolar disorder. Learning about the disease and diagnosing it timelessly can prevent it becoming severe. And it is an opportunity to connect with others with the same symptoms and get access to resources, treatment options that can improve their lives. Today is also commemorated at Torrents Day. In US to celebrate torrenting and torrent websites and the strong community built around torrenting. A fun celebration is commemorated by people downloading and sharing as much as information possible. This is a great way to share files across the internet. Torrenting is often associated with various activities. When torrenting is not illegal at all, it is a great way of sharing large files for multiple reasons, from software, open source, to copyright-free media. So hope everyone has used torrent logins from various devices, but using torrents can also be harmful at various times due to security breaches and various other aspects which are involved while torrenting. Your locations and various device specifications can be exposed while using the torrents. And more often we see, rather than for using good purpose, torrents are used for sharing softwares, copyrighted material, which are illegal. And often we see high content which is shared, which are videos, movies, which are widely shared with the torrents, and softwares which are often licensed are shared through torrents, which is illegal. That's why we see mostly it is commonly associated with illegal activities. But though it is not illegal, it is a great way of sharing the files over the internet, and especially extremely large files over the internet. So torrenting refers to the process of sharing torrent files, which is a compute file that lists out an index of all the parts of a file. A torrent reader is then able to read this file, connect to the internet and to various other people who have the file, and download small parts of the file from different pieces. It is a quick way of sharing extremely large files over the internet. Torrenting, as a rule, depends heavily on the community. When someone tries to download a file using torrent, they are dependent on seeders, who are the people who have left their files to seed. This means that the files are open and available to be registered by the torrent reading software that can be downloaded pieces of file from different torrent users. In fact, every torrent user contributes to the network by either seeding or by downloading. So to download a file that needs to be shared across the network, and that needs to be seeded by users so that the other user can download it from the network. So both are equally important for activity in this torrent network. Seeding is considered an important aspect of the culture of torrenting, as it is essentially a way of contributing to the crowdsourcing of the bandwidth necessary, as well as the different pieces of file. So it is like seeding is something like sharing, like we have something and we are sharing over the internet. But here it is you are sharing a piece of code or files where you don't lose anything. In fact, if you are just sharing a copy of it. So it is part of a great sharing culture and crowdsourcing culture. Once all the pieces have been downloaded, they are assembled by the torrent reading software called BitTorrent file distribution system so that file can be used as intended. You can see various torrent clients like BitTorrent, uTorrent, and there are many softwares, both standalone and plugins even in browser that helps you to download torrents. In 2001, BitTorrent protocol was developed. Computer programmer Bram Cohen develops the BitTorrent protocol. Cohen refines and exhibits his BitTorrent protocol at a computer science conference in 2002. BitTorrent clients developed the protocol further to include search engines and exchange data directly without a torrent file. In 2005, Mr. Pink, the administrator of the Kick-Ass Torrents Institute's Torrents Day to celebrate the torrents. So CAT celebrates torrents in 2011. Torrenting copyrighted material is illegal, but torrenting non-copyrighted or open source material is legal. That's why you can share as long as the content is open, free source, and you can share your anything that is publicly available, you can share through torrent. But if you are sharing a copyrighted material or licensed material, it is considered to be as illegal. Even various sharing streaming platforms like Spotify also use torrent technology. They used to own uTorrent, which is one of the famous platform and client network for torrents. Before BitTorrent has acquired that uTorrent, and it is no longer owning this uTorrent. So they use for this sharing of music from one person to another through the wide connected network. So hope everyone use Spotify to listen to music. And torrenting is, as mentioned, is associated with both legal activity when you are not using it for illegal purposes, but if you are using for illegal purposes, it can amount with illegal activity like sharing licensed or copyrighted material over their network. So erase the stigma and talk about all the ways torrents are legally used by companies to encourage more people. So there is always good and bad sides of a coin. So technology you can use for the good purpose. There is no better way to give back to the community than seeding the torrent files you have. So keep your files open so that more people can access them. Especially it is very useful, for the graphic designer and multimedia and artists and musicians, where they create and compose huge files and which needs to be shared. And this is a great platform where you can compose, or especially those who make movies and all, they can share huge files across the network for review and other various purposes. So use torrents to download software like open softwares like Linux or OpenOffice, and keep the torrent files alive and download as many as you need today. So you can also download these open source softwares from various websites. But if it is a huge file, then you might, if you don't have reliable network, then uTorrent is the best way to download such huge softwares without affecting and interrupting downloads where you need to download again and again. It also leads to wastage of resources and bandwidth. People who only download torrents without seeding them are called leechers because they don't give back, they only take. Even here also there are some selfish people who don't seed. They are just takers also. Like in society we have people who do not donate or contribute. They always keep taking, accumulating, but they don't give back to the society. Similar way, even on the network also there are leechers who do not, seed. Once they downloaded the file, they stop seeding and they don't contribute. And uploaders, seeders, and leechers all together known as swarm. Popular files having many seeders, which makes the files easier to download and quick to download. The seeder having highest bandwidth helps to contribute to the speed of the downloads. And the downloads also depends on the speed of the downloader or leecher. The lot of torrents is based on trust. That is why it is very easy for people to slip malware into a torrent file. So there is a list of malware, viruses, and various other malicious softwares. Sometimes using torrents are faster and easier when it comes to sharing files. So companies like Linux torrent their software, and we can see many huge softwares. They have this option of torrent file where you can download the file through which you can download the huge files or softwares. Today, we are also celebrating the greatest occasion on the planet, that is Sri Ram Navami, that is birthday of Lord Sri Rama, who is an ideal person for the entire humanity. He is a role model for all the human beings, how a human being should be, a person with great ideals. And this day is celebrated annually on the 9th day during the bright phase of Hindu month of Chaitra. The day marks the birth of Lord Rama and is celebrated all over the world. Ramayana is a life story of Lord Sri Ram and his beloved wife Sita. And it is considered an epic with a message that is relevant for the eternity. So join us for the celebrations and let us explore the history behind the day. So Ramayana, as we know, it is a world-renowned literature work, and it is one of the largest epics and contains 24,000 verses. The historical accuracy of the stories mentioned in the Ramayana has been widely validated and accepted, and still a lot of research is happening on for drawing out more references. As there are a lot of versions on when Ramayana was written by sage Valmiki in Sanskrit language, it was by taking up various references. The term as somewhere around 500 BC and 100 BC. But it again, there are a lot of versions from Westerners and also from Easterners. So it follows the perspective of Sita, Sri Ram's beloved wife. The original story does not give any godly attributes to Ram. There are numerous versions of the story which tells the events from different perspectives. We have different authors who have written Ramayana through their perspectives. Whatever the version may be, the story is immortalized by millions of people who find inspiration from this Ramayana. Though we call it as a story, it's a real story that has happened. And as already mentioned, Lord Sri Rama is a role model for any person who seeks the path of truth, love, and duty. But the versions of Ramayana that followed showcase Ram as an avatar of Vishnu, though he is one of the three deities in the Hindu culture and traditions. We are not given an exact date of birth because even before the calendar systems evolved, we had Sanatana Dharma, the calendar, Panchang, which we call, and those have a lot of, the Western conflicts with arriving on similar dates, though even they try to arrive on dates, but there are still differences on coming to a conclusion. So as we have seen also on this platform, various commemorations, where we have also in detail discussed about various calendars, calendar systems and how they emerged over a period of time, like Gregorian calendar, Julian calendar, and various other calendars which have been emerged, and they were totally, unscientific because of, we have seen how various calendars have emerged and their shortfalls of measuring the time exactly. So since then, that creates a lot of, issues in correctly measuring or mentioning the time with the Western calendars. So we still say we follow the Sanatana Dharma, our own Panchang, which is, this is Kali Yuga. So, and presently the 5,000 plus year is going on. We have 5,100 and plus year now running. So that is the exact date. So we can, if we take the reference of this calendar, we can exactly go back to the history. But as you know, the difference is always these people want to go, have their unique identity. So created so many things which created a confusion among various things. And finally, we have a lot of, we have seen how various calendars have their own kind of shortfalls. Though we are not getting much detail into it. So we will leave this aspect as of now, because when we start debating on that, it will that itself take hours together. So leaving that and by looking at the exact astrological sign and the combination of Tithi, Nakshatra and all as per the Panchangam. So it is today the Lord Rama was born, and it is based on calculation. And Ramayana is mostly considered a greatest epic story of Ram winning his wife from a demon king Ravana after being kidnapped. It is not just a story, but the full story is a journey through life of Rama and Sita and about the sacrifices they have made for their nation and their people and also for their family. So that's why, irrespective of one's religion or belief system or caste or creed or irrespective of gender, age, everyone should on this planet who has taken birth as human beings should read Ramayana or watch Ramayana. That will give you a lot of insights, what kind of experiences one might have in their life from birth to death. So it will help us to gain a lot of insights. And it also tells us the plight of humans and even the strongest and the weakest ones. So as I mentioned, this is 5114th year in Kali Yuga. So recently with Ugadi, we have one more year added. So when we look at, that's why we call as, in other calendar, it is also known as before Christ, that is BC. And we have more than various references where we can correlate with this birth dates. So not getting into all these technicalities. So Sage Valmiki writes the Ramayana, and various people have translated, like Ralph T. H. Griffith translates Ramayana to English in 1853, among various others. And it is an auspicious day for all human beings. It's not just for Hindus, because the qualities of Rama has set as an idol for everyone. The central figure of the epic Ramayana, he is considered as incarnation of Vishnu, who is supreme deity. And there is a character, in fact, not a character, but even Lord Hanuman, the also, called by children with love as monkey god or monkey warrior, and the most loyal devotee of Ram, is considered as immortal. Chiranjeevi, who is alive forever. Even we can see the birthplace of Lord Sri Hanuman is in Tirumala. And, we can see, even if you get the time to visit, you can visit the Tirumala where you can see Japali Tirtham, where Lord Hanuma was born. And you can see almost everywhere you can see a lot of Hanuman statues that are, and his footsteps, wherever he had stepped his foot, there is a temple over there. And you can also see everywhere, in almost every temple, there will be no village where there is no Rama temple or Hanuman temple. So he is that close to our cultures and traditions, not only that, too close to humanity. We can see various others, a lot of disparities and various other things are there. We are not going to it. This is not a right time for it. And on this occasion, as the summer is starting and we already have been seeing the rising temperatures, so a special food offering that is prepared on this festive season is Panakam, the sweet that is in liquid form. The preparation and ingredients of this drink make it a summer coolant that quenches thirst like no other and has several health benefits too, as its ingredients are very much healthy and natural and contributes to keep our body cool. So it is made out of jaggery, dried ginger powder, and a dash of black pepper and cardamom. The drink is known to have almost restorative properties that helps the body according to the principles of Ayurveda. The drink is often accompanied with a snack known as vadapappu, that is moong dal, green gram soaked in water, and sprouted grams are also used. And they are very rich in proteins and other vitamins. These two are a great combination in the great summer to combat many seasonal ailments and diseases. So this is a great opportunity from now onwards, or especially to start on this particular day, to start consuming to overcome various summer ailments. And this drink not only helps the body regulate its fluid and salt content, and jaggery, which is rich in iron, magnesium, potassium, and phosphorus, while ginger is potent antioxidant. It stimulates hunger and is an excellent appetizer. Unlike the heavy soups that are passed off as appetizers in fancy eateries these days, this humble drink has all the properties of an excellent hunger enhancer for the body. In fact, the popularity of the drink is only equivalent that of Ampana in North India. So that is very famous in North India. In South India, this drink is very famous. And the drink is also effectively serves as to safeguard against many illness such as common cold and cough, body aches, and many others. This wonder concoction also is helpful in preventing many chronic diseases related to heart, peptic ulcers, asthma, as well as urinary tract ailments, also known as panaka or panagam. Many people also like it with a dash of lemon juice, another restorative ingredient during the hot months. So go ahead and ditch all the soft drinks which are harmful, which contains pesticides, carbonated water, and shift to natural, homemade, organic drink, which bless you with the health. So, and say yes to the humble drinks of youth that pack a punch. And Lord Rama, the incarnation avatar of Lord Vishnu, is also the central of Ramayana, is considered as an important avatar of the deity. Rama is an enlightened man with great regard for morals and values. So if we have to talk about morals and values, we can talk or we can only refer one person on this planet. He is none other than Lord Rama. So that's why he is known as Maryada Raman. That means a man with highest values and morals and ethics. And he is also given the title of Maryada Purushottama, which means the perfect man. In Treta Yuga, millions years ago, he has been even defined as the embodiment of truth, of morality, the ideal son, the ideal husband, and above all, the ideal king by Swami Vivekananda and many others. So we can see certain qualities of Lord Sri Rama and his like loyalty. He never thought of a woman other than Sita in his entire life. So he was very loyal to his wife. And coming to satisfaction, he was satisfied with whatever he had. Even a little less couldn't have bothered him, as you know, he is a king having a large kingdom, but he has went to exile for 14 years. And he traveled across the country and stayed in forest and various places. So it never bothered him. And he was very kind soul who wished well and well-being of every creature, every species, every being on the planet. And the title of the king did not stop him from performing his spiritual duties and practices. He followed spirituality and promoted spirituality. He never talked about his goodness or greatness, such a great humility. And his wisdom, his sagacity, his humility, his righteousness were all reflected in every act of his. He never forced his way on the people and was a participative democrat in the true senses of the term. So he was a great leader. Even today, we cannot, in the entire history on the planet, we cannot name anyone similar to Lord Sri Rama. That's why even today also we say Rama Rajyam, means that is Rama's kingdom, where no one had any worries, everyone was satisfied, everyone was happy. So we all aspire of that ideal kingdom, ideal nation, or ideal state. So he is known to be kind, affectionate, empathetic, and considerate of the feelings of the people around him. He is known for being noble, generous, fearless, simple, and free from flamboyance. And when you have read about Ramayana, or when you have watched Ramayana, you can learn a lot of things, like the qualities of Rama and various insights that can be taken up from this great epic. And we can learn lots of lessons. Like, truth always triumphs. The basic teaching to Ramayana is that no matter how powerful evil is, it will always be defeated by the good. Truth always wins, no matter how viscous or how poisonous lie is, because even a bitter truth doses with positivity, and the sweetest lie has the darkest agenda behind it. The win of good over evil is universal fate. A person should always have a noble heart and good values. That is how Lord Rama defeated the most knowledgeable person in the history, that is Ravana. Ravana was very intelligent and he's very knowledgeable, but because he chose the evil side, That's the only fate, that's the only act. He ruined himself by taking the side of evil. So no matter what you are, who you are, that doesn't matter. As long as you stand with the good, no matter in a short run, you might face a lot of hardships, but finally you are going to see the success. So truth always wins, though not now, but forever. So unity can overcome any difficulty in life. Dasharatha has 3 wives and 4 sons, and all of them loved each other immensely. When the life put them through tough times, their hearts were united, even they were apart physically. So you should always stand by your family, because when together, a family can win over any difficulty. The fruits of togetherness, the unity, the power of unity, and the power to sail the ship when tide seems higher than sky, has always advantage. So that's why always stay united with your family. Unity can overcome any difficulty in life, and be deeply committed to your duty. Besides being Sita's husband, Ram was also king of Ayodhya. He was also king. And the duty of the king is to keep his subjects happy, keep his people happy. And hence he had to abandon his wife for the sake of the masses after they questioned their chastity. Of course, there are various other reasons also. We will not get into it due to paucity of time. As a husband, he has a duty bound towards his wife, but as a king, he had to think of his subjects' wishes ahead of his personal ones. So he had rose above his personals and had performed his duty. And he always chose the path of righteousness. Vibhishna, younger brother of Ravana, chose not to support his sibling in the war against Lord Sri Ram. He knew that his brother had committed a sin by abducting someone, a married woman. And Hanuman could have easily rescued Sita from Ravana's Ashoka Vatika. But though, in spite of having power to single-handedly fight against Ravana's army, but he chose to surrender to the Ram's divinity and let him do the needful. We have seen in Ramayana how the Lord Hanuman has burnt the entire Lanka, now the present Sri Lanka. No? And single-handedly he destroyed almost, he set the entire Lanka, he set fire. So he was very humble. We always, no matter how powerful we are, how wealthy we are, how opportunities, what kind of person we are, in spite of having wealth, power, and all those things, we always knowledge or education or qualification or status, position in the society, it always teaches us to remain humble, no matter how powerful we become, in what position we are, and treat everyone equally. Lord Rama treated everyone equally, and that's how he earned the love and respect among everyone. No matter if a person was younger or elder, poor or rich, he was the same person for everyone. Even when the Sabari, the sage's daughter, offered him the already tasted berry fruits, he ate them without giving a second thought. He always was kind and humble to the people. We should learn and inherit this quality. We should always treat everyone with equality and should not discriminate on the basis of age, sex, gender, status, caste, creed, race, ethnicity, educational qualifications or technical qualifications, or the position they hold, the status they are having. There should no aspect of this should be taken for discrimination. We should not discriminate anyone for that matter. And we should treat everyone, including animals, birds, and other living beings and non-living beings on this planet, equally as true human beings. And it is the one who knows that everyone desires an equal treatment. So always keep good company. We always say stay in good company, satsang. It is said that your company shapes you into a person you are. We can see, there many times we can tell by knowing your friends, by knowing your circle, we can easily say what could be your nature, because there is a very popular saying, these I'm not able to recollect at this point. The same birds flock together, something like that. So similarly, we can also tell by looking at your friends or your circle, we can see what kind of person you might be. So we have been told to keep good company since childhood, and Ramayana too emphasized this relevance of good company. Queen Kaikeyi, the third wife of Dasharatha, loved Rama more than her own son, but her handmaiden Manthara poisoned her thoughts with negative feed, and in result, Kaikeyi asked for Rama's 14 years of exile. A negative person can brainwash all the good inside you. That is why we should always keep a healthy circle, positive circle, so that we can become better with time. Otherwise, these negative circles will destroy you, brainwash you. So always keep positive circles and positive people around. And all the glitters is not gold. Sita got attracted to spotted deer that looked incredibly beautiful, and she wanted Rama to get the deer for her from jungle. Actually, it wasn't a deer, but it was Marich, Ravana's accomplice in disguise of an animal. So don't always, run behind name and fame and grandiosity and all these, things. They can at any time, they are like bubbles. They can at any time blast and leave you into a very awkward position. So as there is a saying that all glitters are not gold, don't just run for all these things which are temporary in nature and which do not last long. And forgiveness is greater than revenge, because it always hurts you, not the other. Remember, as long as you don't forgive them, you are bound, you are indebted to the thoughts, negative thoughts and toxic thoughts, and you keep yourself suffering. So when Ravana learned that Lakshman has insulted his sister Surpanaka, he went to seek vengeance and abducted Sita. Now he was lured into his own trap of anger, and ultimately he signed his death warrant. And he was well versed and knowledgeable, but the feeling of revenge costed him his own life and kingdom. So therefore, we should always keep a forgiving nature, because vengeance and revenge do not bring any good. And in the entire history of mankind, we have seen no one got benefited from the revenge and hatred finally we saw they themselves destroyed in the process. So always practice forgiveness and try to forgive then and there itself. And they will bring it, without that, these vengeance and these revenge, they will bring a downfall in our life. So keeping an attitude of forgiveness and practicing gratitude brings peace and harmony. And today is also National Pencil Day. And is a perfect moment to explore these old writing tools. The simple instrument has meant so much to mankind. It allows people to express themselves, helps them find their creativity, and supports all kinds of scribbles and doodles. Pencils have been used for ages and have gone through many changes in terms of their design. But have you ever wondered who came up with the brilliant idea of attaching an eraser to a pencil? Well, in the West, Hyman Lipman was the man behind the great discovery and was responsible for making our lives easier in the West. We celebrate this day to honor this superb creation. And who would have thought that a graphite core closed inside a wooden casing could perform such numerous and extremely important tasks? Before the invention of pencil, as we know it, people still wrote, only they used things like a fine brush of camel hair or stylus, ancient Romans, and various other things like wooden sticks, like rocks and various other things, even bones and various other naturally available tools they have used to write. Back in the 1st century BC, the Greek poet Philip of Thessaloniki wrote about leaden writing instruments. So pencils are one of the first writing tools. They are known to have originated in the 16th century in the West. In the world discovered graphite. The crystallized form of carbon was found somewhere in 1565 or even earlier near Keswick, England. Legend says a storm uprooted a tree here and clinging to the roots was a shiny black substance, that is graphite. So there is no evidence that this is how graphite was discovered, but we do know that this site was transformed into a commercial graphite mine a few decades later. So this is around the time people began using a piece of graphite wrapped with a string to write. So in 18th century, German chemist A.G. Werner was responsible for naming it graphite, from the Greek word graphein, which means to write. In the early days, after discovery, local shepherds were the only ones to use graphite to mark their sheep. Because it looked so much like lead, people would call it plumbago. The Latin word for lead is plumbus, or even black lead. So this connotation struck to graphite and consequently pencils too. After Swiss naturalist Konrad Gessner published his drawing of a strip of graphite inside a tube of wood, the pencil began to spread throughout the Europe, Britain, though Britain still had a monopoly over pencil making and graphite at that time. By 1794, France was cut off from the supply of pencils due to the war with Britain. Thus, French engineer Nicolas Jacques Conti was responsible for inventing crayons Conti, which was low-quality graphite mixed with clay, shaped in rods and baked. continental pencil makers were no longer needed to rely on the British for pencils. So Conti's invention spurred more innovation in the world of pencil making. Germany, France, America, each country conducted their own experiments, and pencil making became a commonplace around the world. These pencils were great, but the wood around was not. In fact, it was often of low quality. Soon people hit upon the idea of painting pencils to mask the quality of wood. Only the fanciest pencil went unpainted, and then at the 1889 World's Fair in Paris, an Austro-Hungarian pencil company unveiled a new luxury pen, which was painted yellow. Luxury pencil. So thus, at the 1889 World's Fair in Paris, an Austro-Hungarian pencil company unveiled a new luxury pencil, which was painted yellow and which was named Kohinoor, after the largest and best diamond in the world. Because of this, yellow came to be associated with quality, and many other pencil makers picked up this color to adorn their pencils. Even today, the US paints pencils and other writing instruments yellow to represent quality. So it was all about writing. Then what about erasing? People are known to make mistakes, right? So before there were erasers, people would rub out mistakes, usually balled up lumps of old bread. Then in 1770s, a clergyman chemist named Joseph Priestley noticed the gum harvested from trees in South America was very good at removing pencil marks, because people had to rub to remove the marks. The gum was named rubber. So Germany gave birth to the mass production of pencils with companies like Faber-Castell, Staedtler, and Lyra that produced pencils in bulk. In Mashards, the Ticonderoga company began manufacturing pencils in the 19th century. By the late 19th century, pencils were widely being used in the US. The most famously used wood for pencils was red cedar because of its aroma and quality. On March 30, 1858, Hyman Lipman patented the modern pencil. It was wooden graphite pencil with rubber eraser attached, which he later sold to Joseph Reconder for $100,000. So since then, the manufacturing of pencils hasn't stopped, and there are billions of pencils being made and sold around the world. There are so many types of pencils, including graphite pencils, charcoal pencils, grease pencils, and watercolor pencils. Thomas Edison's special pencils were made by Eagle Pencil Company and were thicker than standard pencils, around 3 inches long, and had softer graphite than normal. John Steinbeck's East of Eden reportedly took more than 300 pencils to write. Steinbeck was also said to be an obsessive pencil user, writing many of his masterpieces in pencil. Roald Dahl used exactly 6 sharpened pencils with yellow casings. From the beginning of the day, only once all 6 became unusable would he sharpen them. On tonight's show, Carson would often play with pencils while sitting at the desk to avoid onset accidents. These pencils were specially made with erasers at both the ends. So before pencils, a Roman writing instrument called a stylus was used to write before pencils were made. In the West, this instrument left a mark that was light but could be seen on papyrus easily. There is a common misconception lead has actually never been used in lead pencils, but in fact, it is graphite, not lead. And pencils, as mentioned, as being used since long, and also by using graphite, they are long lasting. One pencil can draw a line measuring up to 45 miles based on the length of the pencil. And pencils can write underwater in zero gravity too. They can be used in unusual circumstances. Almost 14 billion pencils are produced every year, and they are very high in demand. Pencils in US are painted yellow to indicate the best quality pencils. And the term pencil is taken from the French word pincel. Today is also commemorated as National Virtual Vacation Day. It's all about virtual reality. And virtual vacation can take you on the dream vacation without you having to take time off to work or spend money. You can even save yourself from all the worries of traveling and getting airsick or seasick. So this day, just relax, recharge, and regenerate. Terrace Talks Travel started this day in 2016. So with this virtual vacation, you can climb huge mountains, trek through forest, walk with wild animals, and go skydiving just by sitting comfortably on your couch. You can go anywhere, even space, with the invention of virtual reality. And it is possible to go on virtual adventures. Now, with even augmented reality, you can do a lot more. One of the greatest inventions that contributes to the lot to virtual traveling are virtual reality headsets. The brilliant equipment creates an incredible virtual experience. Other than there are many additional ways to travel virtually, like with virtual reality apps, webcams, and online virtual tours. Thanks to these nifty tools, you can now visit the pyramids in Giza and the Taj Mahal in India on the same time through virtual reality. And it not only takes you to places, but also helps you to decide which places you would want to visit in person. Although visiting them virtually might not be as good as seeing them in person, but it is definitely better than not seeing them at all. Though this is a very good to learn and select, but the virtual tools can't replace traveling. However, through virtual traveling, we can go to places that are not accessible otherwise. So the first type of virtual tour was a museum visitor tour that consisted of a walkthrough of a Dudley Castle in England. Queen Elizabeth II was one of the first participants of the virtual tour. The virtual tours are recorded using image stitching and omnidirectional cameras. 3D virtual tours are being used to preserve historic locations that are at risk of being demolished. So virtual walk techniques have been used in making of feature-length movies. Today is also National Ham Control Day in US and also National Fitness Recovery Day. And today is also World TB 303 Appreciation Day. And it is very aptly celebrated on March 30 every year. Now it sounds like, but the TB 303 is not a car or a disease, and it's definitely not a Star Wars character. It's even better. The Roland TB 303 is now legendary bass synthesizer that was instrumental in the development of electronic music we know and love. This bad boy pretty much helped the lay foundations of dance music for years to come. The Roland TB303 bass line, also known as 303 or the Transistor Bass 303, is a bass synthesizer produced by a Japanese company called Roland Corporation and designed by the engineer Tado Higumoto, who is the mastermind behind the Roland TR-909 drum machine. It was marketed as a computerized bass machine. Higumoto wanted to develop a machine that could recreate the sound of an electrical bass guitar for solo performers to produce with and even take out gigs. Unfortunately, it was written off as a failure soon after and discontinued from production. This discontinuation made these machines much cheaper, and this is how they found their way to many up and coming electronic music producers, several of whom were looking to work with new sounds. It ended up in the hands of Chicago-based acid house music group Future, who explored the machine and started making the kind of music crowds had never heard before. They dropped the now classics seminal song Acid Tracks, which is credited with inventing as well as defining the genre. The song was first played in DJ Ron Hardy at a Chicago nightclub, and it's safe to say pretty how much blew everyone minds. Today, the original 303 sells for over 1,000 pounds. Roland is still riding high on the success of the machine and continues to reimagine its technology, releasing the TB3 touch bassline synthesizer in 2014. The 303 has become a staple for DJs all over the world as it's easy to travel with, and well, that's what people want. And finally, today is Doctors' Day in US, aimed at appreciating physicians who help save our lives. So this holiday was first started in 1933 in Winter, Georgia. Since then, it has been honored every year on March 30, which was first anniversary of a doctor using either anesthesia by Dr. Crawford W. Long. Today, we continue to celebrate medical advances like these and thank all doctors everywhere who spend so much of time and energy mastering their field of experience. Edura Brown Almond, the wife of a doctor in Georgia, believed her husband and other physicians deserved more recognition for their hard work and set out to make this idea a reality. The first observed Doctors' Day occurred on March 30, 1933, exactly 91 years after Dr. Long's remarkable discovery. Almond mailed greeting cards to all local physicians and their wives and she put flowers on the graves of deceased doctors, including Dr. Long. The flowers were red carnations, which would later become the representative flower for the national holiday. A few other local doctors' wives even assisted Almond in preparing a celebratory lunch so that their husbands' work in healthcare could be publicly appreciated. So Doctors' Day was unofficially celebrated for many years before it became a legal holiday. On March 30, 1958, the US House of Representatives adopted a resolution that commemorates Doctor Day, and on October 30, 1990, George W. Bush signed the legislature after approval from both the House and Senate. However, other countries celebrate their doctors on a different day than they do in US, often to recognize an important physician from their country. Spain, Cuba, and Argentina celebrate on December 3 to commemorate Dr. Carlos João Finlay's birthday, who famously identified mosquitoes as the cause of yellow fever. India celebrates on July 1st to commemorate the birthday of Dr. B.C. Roy, who was sadly died on the day. Both birth and death day was same for the doctor. So thank you everyone for joining us. And with this, we shall end today's commemorations. So we request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form and also register, if not registered, on a daily basis. Feedback form has been raised in the form of 4 polls. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form, and the registration form is being shared in the chat box. After completing the feedback form, you can click on the link and register for today's webinar series. So tomorrow we will not be having webinar series. Tomorrow being the last day of World Social Work Month. And we are also concluding our international conference and also commemorating World Social Work Day, World Social Work Week, and also World Social Work Month. So from tomorrow, 6 o'clock onwards, we'll be having World Social Work Day celebrations by eminent speakers, stalwarts in the social work. And a small announcement to everyone, those who have missed their presentations, those who have completed their registration and formalities but couldn't present, can also make their presentations subject to approval. You have to immediately contact the coordinator so that your session can be scheduled. So once you complete the formalities, call the coordinator and you can join by 2 o'clock and complete by 5 o'clock. There are many, but otherwise, as long as it is required. Then from 5:30 onwards, we'll be having this World Social Work Day celebrations. And the same certificate, international conference certificate, will be given on this day also too. So total it will be 11 days conference with this additional thing. So these papers which are also presented will also be part of the conference. So no need to worry. This will, as we already mentioned in the conference, there would be an additional certificate for World Social Work Day celebrations. So we are having it tomorrow. So we request everyone, all of them, those who have joined for the conference, kindly also join for tomorrow 6 p.m. onwards, and kindly check the website. There are some paper presentations. We'll start it 2 or according. We'll let you know. So quickly join us tomorrow at 6 p.m. sharp or even before. So see you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night.